What's going on? The video gonna be about Goodie Mob, and I watched the Unsung last night. Oh, I had a full night on the plate between watching the Chicago Bulls documentary and Atlanta murder mystery, and then Goodie Mob, who actually hail from Atlanta. And this is a few years after the whole murder mystery went there. But their story, their history, interestingly, they were on LaFace Ruckus the same time as Outkast. They were all clicked. They all were boys. An interesting story tidbit about Goodie Mob, and also they were showing Sleepy Brown. His dad used to play in the funk band Brick. He was from Atlanta. Talk about a small world. And then thinking about it, LA and Babyface, when they ran LaFace Records out of Atlanta, came there. Goodie Mob. Goodie Mob had a very distinctive style because there were other Southern rap acts, and obviously Outkast was very charismatic with Andre Three Stacks and Big Boy. But Goodie Mob, Big Grip, and the cast, and of course you had a guy named Cee Lo Green. You may have heard of him, singer, rapper, etc. Guy was intriguing. You know, they brought you up on the Southern culture, down south, what dirty south, what you know. They inspired obviously T.I., obviously paid the door for Ludacris, amongst others. And it was a distinctive style they had. They weren't coming at you. They were like coming at you from a political stance. As a matter of fact, they made no mistake. They made no apologies about it. I didn't even got blurred at MTV because of what they said, but they came with subtlety, but also was talking about martial law, talking about what kind of a lot of stuff that you see right now. hmm They had party tracks. They knew how to get down. They could balance it out. However, they had a message in their music, and they weren't going to be country southern. They were going to be a rap act that had messages with a down home value, down home vibe, but yet you could relate to. So you wouldn't walk around saying, well, them Bammers, they just that. But they actually, if you bought Good and Mob, you could respect their records. I got that soul food record. I remember I was bumping that back in the day. And I enjoyed, obviously, the production of Organized Noise, who was one of the most important musical production teams in the 90s. They had a very distinctive sound, and they did a lot of in-house work for LaFace Records, etc. So Goodie Mob was one of those acts that is interesting because right between what Outkast was doing, and then you had Bone Thugs and Harmony, but Goodie Mob was kind of like a mix in all that, um, and it just brought you the Southern-based style with message-conscious music. You know, it's like you could go to church with some of their songs. You could appreciate what they were saying, and they had a depth about them. And I definitely think they've been underrated, undervalued, and appreciated because, I've seen a lot of other hip hop acts that get a lot more love and attention, but not as much juice. So these cats they were intriguing. They had a very interesting style and cadence, the way they produced their music, how they flowed, but more importantly, they were saying something, which has been a lost art. And they did their thing. So it was good to see them getting their acknowledgement, and good to see these cats all back together again and talking it out, and also reminiscing about the message and what they meant. Because a lot of times, acts break up, especially when you have somebody like CeeLo, and that could go so many ways where they're like, well, you had that breakout act, and think about that. He was a very charismatic performer. So that tells you how talented this act was to have that in the back pocket where he even emerged and all that, and Big Grip and all that. So it's good to see them getting their due. All right, that's my thoughts and takes about Goodie Mob's Unsung. Hit that like and subscribe. Let's talk about them, their place, underappreciated, underrated, where they should be, their impact, and how cool it was to see them linking with Outkast on the same label, same area, but also keeping a truth packed. And you didn't see no ego and no, you didn't see all that. So you got to respect that. Give me your thoughts, takes. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear, watch out for one another, and do some history on the music. Listen to acts, because a lot of times there's some acts that come out that just don't get their due. So it's important to recognize. I'm out. Peace.